वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. In the two verses, namely 4 and 5 of this chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Geetā, Sri Krishna revealed his glory as consisting of two natures, two prakritis, the lower prakriti, apara prakriti, and the higher prakriti, para prakriti. We took a look at both these verses. The lower prakriti consists of the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and space in their pure form before they mix with each other and become grossified. In the pure forms, the 5 elements plus Sri Krishna says Mano, Buddhi and Ahankara, and as per Shānkara Bhāshya, it is Ahankara Mahattattva and Avyakta. To make it comprehensive, to make it include everything that is manifest or that came out or that is part of the experienced universe. Then there is the experiencing principle. There is the Kshetrajna Tattva. As Adi Shankara himself said in his Bhāshya, the apara prakriti is no different from Kshetra, and para prakriti is Kshetrajna, the field and the knower of the field. The whole 13th chapter is about Kshetra and Kshetrajna. By mentioning these two prakritis, Sri Krishna, and through him Bhagavad Geetā, gives to us an unbelievable understanding of who God is. The 5 elements, Ahankara, Mahattattva and Avyakta, together leave nothing else at all. And if at all you were to think of the conscious principle pervading them all, that principle is covered in the para prakriti. Therefore, apara prakriti and para prakriti, the lower nature and the higher nature together, actually is the entire creation and the creator, all of it. This, therefore, is the Sanatana Dharma's conception of God. God alone is. Everything that you and I experience and the truth of experiencing are all God only. Very much like how the Chandogya Upanishad would say, Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. All this is Brahma. Other than Brahma, there does not exist anything at all. All is Brahma and all belongs to Brahma. Then where do we figure? Where do we come into the picture? we as separate from Brahma come into the picture only in the domain of error. In Samyak Darshana, in right seeing, there is nothing other than Brahma, and God is Brahma. In Asamyak Darshana, erroneous seeing, there are countless entities, literally countless. So how interesting. In reality, there is God only, Satyam Shivam Sundaram. And in our present understanding, there is everything else, and some of us doubt whether there is God at all. God, who alone is doubted, and everything else which actually do not exist are taken as real. Therefore, our present perception is completely topsy-turvy, upside down. Is there any need for any other verses? If you trust Sri Krishna, these two verses are enough for a great lot of understanding of the Sanatana Dharma's philosophy, and these two verses are more than enough to go to heights of meditation. God alone is. Neither I nor my problems are real. Doubts are unreal. The doubter is also unreal. Maharshi Ramana's statement, doubt the doubter. The doubts and the doubter are a pair that arise together and subside together. In deep sleep, there is neither doubt nor the doubter. Deep sleep is pure Brahma only. But nothing comes in the way of Brahma appearing in countless ways. You and I are one with Brahma. We appear as this multifarious universe. These two verses can provide plenty of material for contemplation, going by the path of bhakti or surrender or devotion, as well as going by the path of jnana or wisdom. Therefore, please do not hurry up through these two verses. These two verses are very significant. Sarvam khal vidam brahma of the Upanishad is elaborated here by talking of two prakritis. Now we look at Shankara's commentary on the second of these two verses. Apara na para nikrishta ashuddha anarthakari sansara bandhanatmika iyam. Referring to the lower nature, Adi Shankara says, this prakriti is lower, aparayam. Those two words are from Sri Krishna himself. Aparayamitastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param, he says. So reflecting on just apara and iyam, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, it is lower because despite all the charm and the grandeur and the unthinkable dimensions of this created universe about which you and I never cease to wonder and marvel and admire and whatnot. In spite of all that, this manifest world where we find ourselves as a Jivatma is Nikrishta, inferior, Ashuddha, impure, Anarthakari, causing lot of evil. Samsara bandhanatmika, it causes bandhana, bondage. In India, we have a bank called Bandhan Bank. Every time I saw the boards of this Bandhan Bank in Mumbai, I used to wonder how would anybody name their bank Bandhana, bondage? They should have named it Moksha Bank. But then I understood, oh, they don't talk of Bandhan in a negative sense. For them, Bandhana means happy bonds. The customers and the bankers forge a happy and healthy bond between the two. So, there is a joke, I think, said by Sri Akhandananda Saraswati. Bandha, which is same as Bandhana, was also created by Lord Brahma, Chaturmukha Brahma. And Bandha, bondage, went around, no one was ready to take it. Pulling a long face, Bandha came back to Brahma and said, "O Divine Father, you created me, but on the earth nobody wants me. When I introduce myself, I am Bandha, bondage." They said, "Get out now. Everybody wants freedom." Then Chaturmukha Brahma said to Bandha, "Oh my dear, all you need to do is a little bit different presentation. Get your visiting cards printed again. Change your name from Bandha to Sambandha. Sambandha. Immediately Bandha went to the best printing press available, got all its cards made and renamed itself Sambandha. Everywhere now Sambandha went, people love to have relationships. Life is full of relationships. And we in our worldliness get a kick, get excited to know more and more people and sometimes to say in front of somebody, "Oh, you are talking of Charan Singh. I know him. He and my mama studied together. Oh, you are talking of Tara Devi in Kolkata. Oh, she's closest friend of my younger sister. And you talk about Harjit Singh in Punjab. I know him very well. He and I were together. In fact, he wanted to join ashram and I did not want to, but it ended up the other way around. I joined ashram and became Swami, and Harjit Singh is a grandfather of 7 grandchildren now. In this way, when we say, I know her, I know him, oh, he is close to me, she is my, etc., we get a kick. We get so excited. The whole world knows me and so on. I know everybody. This is called Maya. That excitement then becomes attachment. And when we realize nobody knows us, nobody wants us, it's terrible. Anyway, coming back to Shankara Bhāshya, coming back to Bhagavad Geetā, Sri Shankaracharya says, this apara prakriti, however glamorous it may be at times, is bandhanatmika. Bandhanam atma yasyaha sa. Bandhanatmika, very atma. Here atma is in the sense of sense or in the sense of essence. The very essence of this created universe is bondage. Itaha asyaha yatoktayaha tu anyam vishuddham prakritim mama atmabhutam vidhi. Oh Arjuna, please know, vidhi. Some other place the word vidhi can mean pierce. In Mundakopanishad, Angirasa says to Shaunaka, Lakshyam tadeva aksharam somya vidhi. Holding the arrow of your mind, sharpened by various upasanas, keep Brahma as your target and without any delay, release the arrow of your mind. Let the arrow of your mind go and pierce the target of Brahma and Sharavat Tanmayo Bhavet. Once the arrow pierces the target at the bull's eye, the target and the arrow become one. Tanmayo Bhavet. Like that, let your mind merge in Brahma and let Brahma and you become one. And the word used there is Vidhi. Vidhi, Veda, all about piercing, penetrating. But in fact, more often, the word Vidhi appears in our scriptures in the sense used here, Atma Bhutam Anyam Prakritim Vidhi, please know. With Veda, not Veda. Veda is piercing. Veda is knowledge. Please know the higher Prakriti. And what is the higher Prakriti? Param Prakrishtam. The earlier one was Nikrishta, so low. And Prakrishta is so high. Jiva Bhuta. Alas, in our spiritual ignorance, we think we are the body, and sometimes we feel, I think I have a soul in me. I am not just the body, I have a soul in me. As we study the scriptures, contemplate upon them, and rise in our spiritual understanding, we realize we are primarily a soul having a body. Even Stephen Covey, the author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, quotes, we are not a body having a spiritual experience. We are spirit passing through a physical experience. He says he heard it somewhere in some conference and that statement stuck with him. We are spirit passing through a physical experience. We are not the body having a soul in it. Wow. Jiva Bhuta, Kshetrajna Lakshana, characterized or marked by being the very knower of all the fields. Even the mind is not the knower. We generally think it is through our mind that we know things. And in difficult questions like, how do we know what dream we had? Because of our excessive attachment to this thing called the mind, we believe that the same mind must have been in dream. And because the same mind is now in the waking state, we are able to remember dream. But in a statement that is very thought-provoking and that is very unsettling, Swami Satchidanandendra Saraswati says, the mind of the dream, time and space of the dream are completely wound up. Lock, stock and barrel, they are bundled up and left. When we wake up in our waking state, we have an entirely different space, entirely different time, and entirely different mind. So if this mind of the waking is entirely different from the mind we had in dream, how under the sun do we know the dream that we had? We share with our friends, you know what dream I had last night, and so on. How did we, or how do we get that? Swami Sachidanandendra Saraswati says, you folks, you people are so attached to the body and the mind, especially to the body and the mind of this waking state. This body of the waking state, this mind of the waking state are like a unquestionable reference point. We have hugged them so tightly, you can't get out of it. You folks are so caught up in this waking identity. Really, it has gone to an extreme. You are completely forgetting that all knowledge actually is made possible by the pure self. Therefore, the pure self, the Kshetrajna, knows it all. Pure self knows it all, and it knows the dream, it knows the waking, but at a given point of time, for any expression, for giving expression to something, the pure self uses the mind, uses the body, uses the senses, uses the organs of action. But whatever the organs of action, organs of perception, mind, intellect, etc., are capable of doing, 100% they belong to the pure self. In other words, they don't have an ability to move even an inch. Tena vina tridamapi na chalati. Even a blade of grass does not move without the pure self's grace. Like that, the pure self knows it. How does it know? It knows it. Pure self knows what dream took place, and then the waking mind comes along, takes it all as its own memory. The waking mind says, I am able to remember. This is what is called in financial circles misappropriation. Misappropriation of funds. Somebody's money, I bring and lock it up in my tijori, my almirah, my cupboard, and then say, that's my money. Somebody else's money, I say, it's my money. That's called misappropriation. The waking self, the waking identity, the waking individual who is studying Vedanta also these days, poor thing, misappropriates a whole lot of things out of such arrogance. I dreamt and now I am awake. I went to deep sleep and now I am able to see again things of the world. I, I, I experienced dream and now I am back to waking. I experienced deep sleep and I am back to waking, etc. It says, look at its arrogance. I. Vedanta would say, dear fellow, to the waking ego, you did not exist even 1% in dream. You did not exist even 1% in deep sleep. Whatever existed in dream is another individual, which is an expression of the pure self. And in deep sleep, nothing expressed at all. Nothing is expressed. The pure self is shining in all its glory. But the waking mind has its own clever ways of misappropriating. I dreamt, I slept very deeply, and I was so happy. And there was just ignorance. Some theories are floated. All right, Sri Krishna says here, the pure principle of life, Jiva Bhuta, Kshetrajna Lakshana, of the nature of that which actually knows everything, Pranadharana Nimitta Bhutam, if anyone is still alive, up and kicking, going about, walking, standing up, sitting down, eating, and so on, Pranadharana. Pranadharana Nimitta Bhutam, He Mahabaho, O mighty armed one, addressing Arjuna as mighty armed. Shankara continues to explain, Yaya Prakritya Idam Dharyate Jagat Antapravishtaya. Having entered into as though. Why as though? There's a long discussion and a lengthy Shankara Bhāshya on the line in Taittiriya Upanishad Brahmananda Valli, where the line says, Tat Srishtva Tadeva Anupravishat. Tat Srishtva Tadeva Anupravishat is a sentence in the Taittiriya Upanishad. The Supreme Brahman, about which that Valli says in the beginning, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Brahma is pure existence, pure consciousness, and pure or infinity, it's Anantam. About Brahma, later it is said, this Brahma, you see, created this universe and then entered into it. Shankara Bhāshya here also says, Antapravishtaya. Antapravishta Prakriti, Antapravishtaya Prakritya. In Sanskrit, to sprinkle a little basic grammar, the adjective has to follow the noun in CNG. Some of you may think, why is CNG coming into Sanskrit Vyakaranam? Compressed natural gas. CNG is not compressed natural gas here. C, N and G stand for case, number and gender. Case, Vibhakti, Pratama, Dvitiya, Tatiya, Chaturthi, Panchami, Shashti, Saptami. One more two, Sambodhana. Case or declension. Number is singular, dual and plural. Ekavachana, Dvivachana and Bahuvachana. And gender is Strilinga, Pullinga, Napunsakalinga. Feminine, masculine and neuter. The adjective has to be in accordance with the noun in case, number and gender. Therefore, antarpravishtaya follows prakritya in case, third case, number, singular, gender, feminine. Antapravishtaya prakritya, by or through having entered. Prakriti is entered into, it's a passive expression. This kshetrajna Kshetrajnalakshya idam dharyate jagat. Okay, the sentence is this. This jagat, universe, is supported by the Prakriti into which Kshetrajna has entered. Thus, the pure truth, then the Prakriti, higher Prakriti, and that higher Prakriti, which is pure self or consciousness, right, has entered into this lower Prakriti. Jagat is lower Prakriti. Jagat is supported by higher Prakriti. So, of the two, lower Prakriti and the higher Prakriti holds the key. Without the higher Prakriti, the lower Prakriti simply cannot exist. You cannot say it the other way. Without lower Prakriti, higher Prakriti cannot exist, you can't say. The higher Prakriti exists whether there is lower Prakriti or not, whether there is creation or not, whether there is manifestation or not. Now, summing up this statement about two Prakritis, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says in verse number 6, Etad yonini bhutani sarvani iti upadharaya aham kritsnasya jagataha prabhavaha pralayas-tatha. Sanskrit permits such compounds where a pronoun also can be part of the compound. Etat stands for these two. Etad, ete, etani. Or since it is Prakriti, esha, ete, etaha. Prakriti is feminine. Esha, one Prakriti. Ete, these two Prakritis. And etaha, these many Prakritis, if there were to be. So, etad yonini means it's an adjective to sarvani. Everything in this universe has these two Prakritis as their source. From these two Prakritis, from life principle as well as things like the five elements, etc. Life principle, the para Prakriti on one hand, and Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jala, Prithvi, Ahankara, Mahat, Tattva, Vyakta, etc. on the other hand, together can be the source. From them arises everything else. Sarvani Bhutani, all life forms, from unicellular organism or before that even viruses. Certain things in this universe are such scientists do not even conclude whether it is living being or inert. Certain viruses, I have heard, are sometimes looked at as, in some sense, they are living beings. In some other sense, they are not living beings, but they do a few things. There are some protein molecules, such words we hear. Just as later on also about something like mushroom, etc. Some say it is animal, some say it is plant. So they have a ambiguous dual nature. Like that, I began saying from a unicellular organism to the most complex living being. Maybe we human beings are the most complex ones, at least on this earth. But in heaven and in some other worlds, we hear that there are these devatas who have even superior abilities to appear in form and then to vanish, then again appear in another form, then again to vanish, to appear suddenly here and then next moment over there, to appear at the same time in two places, etc., are said to be possible for certain forms of creation. All of them have these two prakritis as their source, as their support, as their basis. Iti upadharaya. Upadharaya is no other than vidhi. Please know. Vidhi is a very simple, well-known form. Janihi. You want to talk a little Sanskrit in day-to-day life? Next time you want to tell somebody, please know, I have returned your money. Please know. So you may say vidhi, janihi, or you want even a more complex expression, upadharaya. Please know, please take it now very clearly. I have returned the money that I took from you. Upadharaya, nothing but jani. Aham kritsnasya jagatah prabhava pralayasthatha. Prabhava is rising, pralaya is dissolving. In between there is something called sthiti. Like other places we talk about srishti, sthiti and laya. Here prabhava, sthiti and pralaya. And kritsna, not Krishna. Kritsna means entire. Of this entire jagat, I am their beginning, I am their end, and needless to say, I am their middle too. This is a very important truth, like I said about the two verses depicting Apara Prakriti and Para Prakriti. This verse also and this expression also in its own way is a commentary on Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. You want to do a Vedanta meditation? Meditate on this verse. Meditate on the two verses before. Meditate on the Upanishad Vakya, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Brahma alone is everything. Joy and sorrow, up and down, far and near, solid and liquid, and you make a list. Brahma is everything. There is nothing other than Brahma. See Brahma in the good, see Brahma in the evil. That is what the high vision is. So we say, Aham Prabhavaha, Aham Pralayaha. I am the rise, I am the end. Or in me the universe rises. This is another way of putting it. In me the universe subsides. For a while, in me the creation stays. When you put it that way, coming from Brahma, going back to Brahma and staying in Brahma, that is again an echo of the Taittiriya Upanishad statement. Yato va imani bhutani jayante yena bhutani tishtanti yat prayanti abhivishanti yasmin tishtanti and yat pravishanti. No wonder Ramana Maharshi gave that 20th verse of the 10th chapter as the one verse that he would specially pick up of all the 700. And that 10.20 says, Aham adischa madhyancha bhutanam anta evacha. I am the beginning, I am the middle, and I am the end. Aham atma gudakesha sarva bhutashaya sthitaha. I am the self in all living beings, located in their heart itself. And then aham adischa madhyancha sarva bhutanam anta evacha. Sri Krishna says here, he only says there too, but here much before the 10th chapter opens, Right in the 7th chapter, he has this to say that I am their rise, Adi, I am their end, Anta, I am their Madhyam, that is implied. A short commentary by Adi Shankaracharya is good to be studied. एतद्योनीनि एते परापरे क्षेत्र क्षेत्रज्ञ लक्षणे प्रकृति. So prakriti being feminine, ete is the dual of esha. Sa te taha, esha ete etaha. Like that the cases, numbers, genders are to be noted. Ete dve prakriti yoni moolam येषां भूतानां तानि एतद्योनीनि भूतानि सर्वाणि इति एवं उपधारय जानीहि. So etadyonini is a bahuvrihi samasa where one of the members is a pronoun. Etat yesha is a pronoun. So not only adjectives and nouns, pronouns, and there also this may become a bit complex, but in a manner of saying, interrogative pronouns, simple pronouns, and even relative pronouns can be members of a samasa compound in Sanskrit that gives to the language amazing ability to put a lot into a single word, compound word. Upadharaya means janihi, yasmat mama prakriti yonihi, karanam sarvabhutanam. Mama prakriti, dirgha is because two prakritis are prakriti. Matihi mati mataya. Prakritihi prakriti prakritaya. So these two prakritis, subject of the sentence, yonihi, predicate. Dasharataha raja, there is a sentence. Dasharataha is the subject, raja asti is the predicate. So we are not to take Dasharataha, raja together as subject. In the sentence, Dasharatha is the king of the country, Dasharatha is the subject, king of the country is the other side of the verb, is, after is, like that. Sometimes that is necessary, otherwise some students get stuck. Yasma mama prakriti yonihi. Where to pause? Mama prakriti, subject, yoni karanam sarvabhutanam staha, asti staha. Then the sentence is clear. Aham kritsnasya samastasya jagata. Samasta, sampurna, kritsna, sarvasya, of the entire universe. North India in Hindi they have a word, I don't think it is in Sanskrit. Samuchi. I had an elderly friend in Varanasi who used to help me in my work on Mishraji. He was so fond of that word Samuchi. So anything he has to talk about, Samuche Sanstha ke, Samuche logon ke, Samuche. I think I don't know that word very well, but Samuche also means entire. Let's take care of all these cows. Let's give higher DA to all these employees. This problem is in the entire Uttar Pradesh, he would say. Samuche Uttar Pradesh mein ye samasya aapko nazar aati. Like that he would talk. Samuche. I have not heard anyone else using that word so much. I knew that word from him. Every day I have to hear that word Samuche a few times. Coming back to Sanskrit, Kritsnasya samastasya jagataha prabhavaha utpattihi pralayaha vinashaha tatha prakriti dvaya dvarena aham sarvajnaha ishvaraha jagata karanam ityartha. The shloka proper says aham jagataha prabhava pralayastata. Shankara makes a very appropriate clarification. In this present context, I, the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, is the cause of the entire universe. How? Through these two prakritis. That is the context. Through these two prakritis, I am the cause of everything. Therefore, friends, do not imagine these are just some warm-up shlokas. The real teaching begins a little later. These two verses and now the sixth verse themselves can be Vibhuti Yoga. Or here it is Dana Vijnana Yoga. It is the glory of God. It is to know God from a distance and to know God intimately. Depending on the level of your contemplation, you would know God from a distance, that is Dana. And if the level of contemplation is very high, then through such verses, such shlokas, you know God intimately, that is Vijnana. Gross and subtle, from far and from near, etc. In this way, verses 4, 5 and 6 are plenty of material for divine contemplation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.